Killer kids intent on murder. Brianna K. Teen murderers unmasked. The tragic incident unfolded as two troubled teenagers, a girl and a boy, bonded over their shared sense of unhappiness. When a teenage girl becomes entwined with a boy, questions arise about whether external influences played a role in their actions. However, the situation took a dark turn when the girl's fantasies escalated into a search for real-life horror. In a horrifying turn of events, a vicious attack occurred, with the boy later claiming he had momentarily stepped away only to return and witness the girl stabbing their victim, Brianna. These two 15-year-olds displayed a chilling level of commitment to their heinous act. Their actions were not tentative. They were fully committed to carrying out the murder with meticulous planning. Brianna tragically believed the girl to be her friend, unaware of the danger she posed. The discovery of Brianna's body by dog walkers in a wooded area near Warrington was a harrowing revelation. The victim had suffered multiple stab wounds in a frenzied and brutal assault. Despite the efforts of emergency services, Brianna could not be saved, and she was pronounced dead in the afternoon. The police are appealing for witnesses who were in Linear Park at the time of the attack to come forward. This chilling case serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked teenage angst and the lethal potential of misplaced trust. The tranquil atmosphere of the park belied the tragedy that unfolded there. What was once a bustling scene of dog walkers and joggers on an ordinary Saturday became the backdrop for a horrifying crime. Within a remarkably short span of 36 hours, the police made 2 arrests, revealing that the alleged killers were mere 15-year-olds. While their identities were protected, the victim's name, Brianna, soon resonated worldwide. 10 months after the brutal murder, following an 18-day trial, justice was served as 2 teenagers were found guilty of Brianna's senseless killing. Described as larger-than-life, Brianna was remembered for her humor, wit, and fearlessness. Her absence left a palpable void in the lives of those who knew her, her laughter now painfully absent. Throughout the trial, the perpetrators, now aged 16, were referred to only as Girl X and Boy Y. However, upon the jury's verdict, the judge, Mrs. Justice Yip, determined that their identities would be disclosed at the time of their sentencing. This decision stemmed from the belief that the severity of their crime warranted public awareness of who they were and the potential duration of their incarceration. The revelation of their identities, Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe, marked the final chapter in this tragic saga. Jenkinson was sentenced to a minimum of 22 years in prison, while Ratcliffe faced a similar fate. The unveiling of their names and faces serves as a stark reminder of the profound consequences of their actions and the enduring impact on Brianna's loved ones. Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe, both previously untroubled by the law and hailing from seemingly stable and nurturing backgrounds, shocked their communities with their involvement in the heinous murder. Scarlett's upbringing appeared conventional. Her parents, a teacher and a builder, provided a stable home environment alongside her 3 older brothers. Social media portrays her as a typical child, engaging in innocent activities like pony rides and birthday parties. Neighbors expressed astonishment at her involvement in such a crime, reflecting a sentiment shared by many who knew her. However, Scarlett's early adolescence saw the emergence of troubling signs. At just 11 years old, she confessed to self-harming with a knife as a means to cope with escalating anxiety. It was during her time at Culture High School that she formed a close bond with Eddie Ratcliffe, who shared a similar background of stability and familial support. Eddie, described as a top student and a clever young boy, was the middle child in his family, with an older brother and a younger sister. Despite his apparent intelligence, Eddie struggled with undiagnosed autism, a condition that went unrecognized until after his arrest in connection with the murder. Their unlikely connection unfolded against the backdrop of their respective family dynamics and personal struggles. Despite the outward appearance of stability, both Scarlett and Eddie grappled with inner turmoil, ultimately culminating in a crime that defied comprehension. The revelation of Eddie's autism diagnosis added another layer to the tragic narrative, shedding light on the complexities of his behavior and interactions leading up to the fateful, even earning high marks and admiration from his teachers. His close friend Scarlett Jenkinson embarked on a darker path, fueled by her burgeoning fascination with horror films. From the age of 13, Scarlett immersed herself in these films, finding excitement in the sinister narratives, an emotion at odds with the typical response of fear or disgust. Rather than enjoying these movies in the company of friends for shared thrills, Scarlett indulged her interest in solitude, finding a peculiar thrill in the macabre. Eddie's perspective on Scarlett painted a troubling picture. He described her as far from normal, noting her lack of friendships and her penchant for disturbing jokes, including references to Satanism and disturbing texts. Scarlett's behavior escalated when, in 2022, she left her school after distributing cannabis gummies to fellow students. Despite this, she was accepted into Birchwood Community High School that spent time isolated in the school's inclusion unit, away from the mainstream student body. Despite their physical distance, Scarlett and Eddie maintained communication primarily through social media platforms like Snapchat and WhatsApp. Their exchanges revealed a mix of innocuous messages alongside darker conversations revolving around violence, torture, and death. These disturbing discussions included plans to harm people they knew, particularly when Ratcliffe felt threatened by a romantic rival. Their online interactions portrayed a troubling dynamic, where shared interests in darkness and violence intertwined with the complexities of their personal lives. This descent into a sinister mindset ultimately culminated in the tragic events that shocked their community and forever altered the lives of those involved. In a disturbing exchange of messages, Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe discussed plans for violence, with Scarlett expressing a chilling willingness to assist in murder. She encouraged Ratcliffe to carry out the act, even offering suggestions on methods and disposal of the victim's body, including disturbing details like feeding the victim's heart to a dog. Further revelations from Scarlett's notes after her arrest indicated a growing fascination with serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer and Richard Ramirez. This interest extended to sharing links to websites glorifying rape, torture, and murder. The conversation sheds light on the disturbing depths of their descent into darkness, challenging stereotypes about teenage violence and highlighting the complexities of their motivations and influences. Scarlett Jenkinson is tired with made-up horror and is now searching for terror in the real world. When her phone was investigated after her arrest, it was discovered that she had a browser that allowed her to access the black web. For once, this was not a boast of idolatry. I've always been a fan of this content. Finally, I've located a respectable Red Room. Red Rooms are ominous dark websites where visitors can watch as actual people are executed and tortured. Scarlett Jenkinson was just 15 years old when she downloaded a browser to see these pornographic websites. Every person I know who is exposed to this kind of stuff knows that it will permanently damage them and that they need to take action in order to protect their own mental health. There are police officers that I know who were forced to watch Red Room material, but by mid-December, they were concentrating on someone else. For whatever reason, I believe you are traumatizing yourself and gravely endangering your mental health if you are watching that kind of film in a private space. Could you provide us with any information regarding Brianna? Despite being born a guy, 16-year-old Brianna lived as a girl for 2 years, beginning at the age of 14. Her mother claimed that her daughter had a somewhat contradictory personality despite having 31,000 followers on TikTok because in real life, she was an extroverted person who found it difficult to attend school. She further stated that she hadn't left her bedroom in the few days prior to her unprovoked murder. Some people may be hostile and irate because you are putting these groups together, while others may just be socially anxious like Brianna. Each of them has a unique susceptibility, and Brianna first encountered Scarlett Jenkinson at Birchwood's inclusion unit. We've been told that when Brianna complimented Jenkinson on her eyeliner, they became friends over makeup. Brianna therefore believed Scarlett Jenkinson to be her friend without a doubt. Strangely, despite the fact that Brianna really struggled with socialization, she thought she would be safe when they met in the inclusion unit. However, she ended up engaging with the one person who could possibly harm her.